Most players only look at a card's main position and active playstyle when deciding if someone's worth using. I believe that's a huge mistake. In reality, some of the best cards in eFootball become even stronger when you play them out of position and when their playstyle isn't even active. Today, I want to show you the best examples of this, cards that perform way better when used in completely different roles than originally intended. Let's start with one that's been underrated for a long time, Araujo. I think a long time ago, this card was in fact considered meta by many people, but nowadays, a lot of people have completely forgotten about this card. And honestly, I don't blame them, because this card came out all the way in eFootball 2024, almost 2 years ago, and still very capable, even if this card is on the older side. So in the case of Araujo, he is just too tall for a defensive fullback in my opinion. If we train him as a CB, he will have higher than usual speed, acceleration, and stamina, especially for such a tall CB. Just take a look at his stats. He has 91 speed and acceleration, which is really amazing considering the fact that it's not like he is weak at headers, since he has 96 jumping with 91 physical contact and 97 heading. And you still need to remember the fact that he is 188 as well, so he's not really small, but he still has amazing jumping and heading, which means not only is he fast, he has stamina, but he is also able to win headers. Just compare that to newer cards that come out now, like for example the recent Thuram card, who is smaller than him, has lower jumping and worse heading. So still, this card of Araujo ends up outshining newly released cards. One weakness this card definitely has is his defending could be a bit higher. Now, I have never tested this card in-game. Just on paper, he looks amazing. Just one thing you need to remember as well is this card is obviously old, so he doesn't have any special skills like Fortress or Aerial Fort. His stats make up for that, and although he doesn't have those new skills, he is better than most new players when it comes to his stats. Let's move on to another great example of using a player out of position to make them better. Let's now look at Rafael Leao. This is another card that came out all the way in eFootball 2024, so he is also nearly 2 years old. Rafael Leao is actually also 188 centimeters tall, which in my opinion is just too tall for the wing or the LMF position specifically. Instead, he could be very much used in a more central role, in this case, striker. There are numerous ways you could upgrade this card to fit the CF position, but here is the progression I went with. And oh man, if some of you have this card, please let me know in the comments if you still use him. This card being 2 years old just still looks amazing to me. The game rates him just 104 at the striker position. I think, just looking at the stats, he deserves a higher rating. I mean, what does this card not have what a striker needs? He is incredibly fast, has amazing balance with physical contact and a strong model. Remember, this guy's 188 centimeters tall, so he definitely won't be pushed around as much. He can definitely stand up for himself. At the same time, his dribbling, tight possession, and ball control are amazing, especially for a tall striker. His finishing could be a bit higher, but then again, he makes up for this lack of finishing by just having very good passing for a striker. Most strikers barely have 70 low pass, which can oftentimes prevent you from developing proper attacks. In this case, we have a player who is really fast, he can dribble, he can shoot, but also he is able to assist other players in your team. Moving on, I want to show you guys a gem that I actually own myself. This is the first card in this video that I actually have myself. And it's this old card of Andrea Pirlo. For those of you who don't know, this is a card all the way from PES 21. Basically, if you owned this Legends card of Pirlo back then, when the game got reset in eFootball 22, you would get this card instead of that older Legends card. Although most of those older Legend cards and Iconic Moments cards from PES 21 got nerfed pretty hard, some of them became even more broken, and I think this is the case with this card. Right now, he is upgraded with his default progression, and still, look at what rating the game gives him at the CMF position. He is rated 103, although this is just supposed to be a base Legend card that is supposed to be outdated. You could in fact play this card at CMF and he would do a good job as a kind of box-to-box player, even though he is an orchestrator. But the thing I want to show you is what you can do by using a position token to give him the AMF position and then upgrade him as a AMF. Here is the progression I would use if I would want to use this card of Pirlo at the AMF position. And as you can see, guys, although the rating on the card will say 94 in-game, the rating this card would have at the AMF position, as you can see over here, if we give him the position booster token, he would be 105 rated at the AMF position. And I just find it crazy that this card was available to us, or to those ones who played in PES 21 and had this card all the way in eFootball 2022. So basically, almost 3 years ago, most of us could have already started with a 105 rated AMF card. Looking at the stats, those are just simply outlandish. He is amazing at everything when it comes to attacking. One thing to note is, of course, that his physical contact is low and he is kind of a smaller dude, so he will get pushed around quite a bit in today's meta. I still think this card is amazing, but he could be a bit faster when it comes to his speed and acceleration. And the last player I want to mention in this video is, of course, Paolo Maldini. In my previous videos, I have mentioned a few times that Thuram and Maldini, and specifically Thuram, are very good when you upgrade them to use at CB. I have showcased multiple times how you could upgrade Thuram to be used at CB, but I never really showed you guys how I would upgrade Maldini. So I decided Maldini will be the one for this video. I'll show you what progression he would be best with when used at CB. As you can see right away, although this is the default progression for the left back position, his rating is already higher when used at CB. Already this indicates us that this card might be better when used in a different position. Here is how I would upgrade this Paolo Maldini card to be used at CB. As you can see with this progression, this card of Maldini will be rated 108 at the CB position, which is actually the highest possible at the moment. If you look at other defensive fullbacks like Thuram, when you upgrade them for the CB position, the highest possible rating for them is also 108. If you remember in the beginning, we actually looked at Ronald Araujo, a way older card than this Paolo Maldini. There's almost 2 years in between them. Still, that card of Araujo was rated 106 at CB, while this card is rated 108. So honestly, there's not that much difference between them. As you can see, the defending is amazing with this card. He has great heading, amazing jumping, physical contact, and solid speed and acceleration. Depending on what you need, some might actually consider this progression to be a bit too slow. But I also remind you that Paolo Maldini isn't actually the heaviest CB. He is 186, which still makes him quite agile when you compare him to some of the taller strikers and taller CBs that people tend to use. The more meta options you have for defensive fullbacks that are used at CB, most of them will have higher speed and acceleration than this card of Paolo Maldini. That was it for this video, guys. Please let me know in the comments if you agree with my takes and if you have some other players that are better when used out of position or when their playstyle isn't active. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe. Peace out.